What does it take to be a hero? And what makes a villain a villain? These are the questions that Boku no Hero Academia or My Hero Academia tries to answer using the typical shonen anime formula that is heavily inspired by Western superheroes. And it is from this series that this game is based upon. What's up, Dreamer Tribe? What's up, world? I am Bianca, and today I want to talk to you guys about My Hero Academia Wants Justice. So I know it's been a while, like over, I think, a month since this game has been released. But with all the games that has been coming out since then, it's been quite impossible to actually just sit down and write a review for this game, especially with a slew of other games that I have to review. But finally, I had the time to do so and to record this video for Boku no Hero Academia or My Hero Academia's One Justice review. So before I actually start the review, I just want to go back to that moment prior to this game's release. Like, I was among those people who pre-ordered this game digitally for the Nintendo Switch, and I was among those people that were pretty much annoyed with how Bandai Namco and Nintendo handled the release of this game, which we pre-ordered. Now, I've done a lot of pre-orders prior to this game, like those games that I actually want to play and I think would be impossible for me to get physically on release date, considering that in order for me to actually buy a game, I have to travel like 4 hours away from my house just to go to that video game store that actually sells video games on day one. Like, we have a store here that sells video games, but we have to wait like several weeks upon the release of the game for it to actually be delivered to the store here in the city. So yeah, 4-hour drive. So you can imagine why pre-ordering digitally or buying digitally has more of an appeal to me than traveling 4 hours just to get it physically. But yeah, I pre-ordered this game digitally also because of the free DLC that you get from pre-ordering the game, which is the Endeavor as a playable character and Deco Shoot style characters. So you get 2 characters, DLC characters, for free if you pre-ordered, which is, again, it was one of the things that enticed me to pre-order this game for the Nintendo Switch, because I thought it would be much more fun to play it on handheld than on the PS4, even though it has, as I will be talking about later, superior graphics in this game. But yeah, I pre-ordered this digitally on the eShop, and when the time for this game's release, especially those of us who pre-ordered, came and the game was still unavailable, you can imagine the chaos that occurred on Twitter, especially on Bandai Namco's Twitter feed regarding this game, since everyone who didn't pre-order and bought it from the stores, like, they managed to play it first than those of us who actually pre-ordered this game digitally. And that was just, I think that was the final straw that made me decide never to pre-order a game from Bandai Namco, especially pre-order it digitally. So yeah, enough about that rant. Let's get right into the review for this game. So for those of you who don't know, My Hero Academia or Boku no Hero Academia is a superhero anime and manga written and illustrated by Kohei Hirokoshi for Shonen Jump. Now, it tells the story of Izuku Midoriya, who is a quirkless, which is their term for someone who doesn't have superpowers in this universe where everybody has superpowers, and his journey into becoming the world's #1 superhero. Now, since this game is based on the anime and manga, it follows Izuku's journey to a certain extent. Now, the story of the game starts off right at Izuku's training with Gran Torino, and it encompasses up to the point where All Might fights against All for One. Now, despite saying that, there is a lot of fights that aren't included in this game, and there are a lot of storylines that this game doesn't tackle as much as those of us who want to relive those storylines would want. Now, it boggles my mind why they would start at that point of the story instead of starting from like the kidnapping where where we were first introduced to All Might, and not, or perhaps even at that point where Izuku is training his body in order to be able to use the powers that All Might bestowed on him. Or even, heck, the entrance exam for UA High School. They could have started right at that point, but instead they chose to start the game with a tutorial in that level you have with Gran Torino. Now, how they also tell the story of the series, or the manga series, the anime series, Boku no Hero Academia in this game is sort of like having you watch or play through a visual novel-esque storytelling where you're just sitting there and pressing a button as the text scroll by, as an exchange happens between characters and their dialogue, instead of showing us these events in a form of an anime cutscene or a CGI cutscene like you would have expected from a Bandai Namco fighting game. Like Naruto has it, Dragon Ball has it, but unfortunately it seems like this game is done with a really low budget, that they forego the storytelling aspect in order to focus on the actual arena battles in this game, which is really kind of sad, considering that if you go to some forums regarding this game, there are people asking if they would find this game enjoyable despite not knowing anything about Boku no Hero Academia. Having said that, however, despite how much of the initial story of Boku no Hero Academia was not tackled in this game does provide others who know so little about the anime a gateway into the story of Boku no Hero Academia. It gives them a chance to get to know the characters and then go back into watching the anime or reading the manga in a way that it piques their interest into the series, which is a positive thing for the series as a whole. And the fact that it actually had to release a patch in order to make the dialogue more interesting in the arcade mode, it tells you a lot about how rushed the story aspect of this game was made to be. Now, moving away from the story of this game, let's tackle the actual game modes that you can find in Boku no Hero One's Justice, or My Hero Academia One's Justice. So Boku no Hero Academia has several game modes, but all of them revolve around fighting. Like, there's no mini games in this arena fighting game. It's all about defeating your enemies and moving on to the next level, and also proving your worth as a hero and your strength as a villain. Now, first up we have the story mode. Now, the story mode is divided into two. At the beginning of the game, you only have one of those two story modes, and that is the hero mode. Now, the hero mode tells the story of Izuku and his friends, as well as All Might, as they battle through villains and as they try to get themselves stronger in order to face the penultimate enemy, which is All for One. Now, after beating that mode, that hero mode, you will get to unlock the villain mode. Now, the villain mode is the special mode of this game. Like, it's what was marketed, and it features the story of the villains in this game and in the series, and it starts in the same level as where the hero mode starts. So you get to use Stain first, Like, he's the first villain that villain story that you unlock in this game. And the goal here is to reach the final level where All for One battles against All Might. And it sort of gives you a perspective on how the villains think and what's going on in their mind as they battle the heroes of My Hero Academia, which is, quite frankly, the best part of the games. Now, as you play through both stories, both game modes of the story mode, you get to unlock stuff that you can use to customize your character, which is another feature in this game. Now, you don't have your own avatar in this game. Like, you don't create a character that is placed within the world of Boku no Hero Academia, which would have been pretty cool if we got an RPG game instead of an arena fighting game for Boku no Hero Academia. So there's none of that, but you can customize all the characters already in the game. So you can customize Izuku, you can customize Shoto, you can customize all the other characters, even the DLC characters, with the items that you unlock from beating the levels and from getting the objectives on each stage, because there are certain objectives that you need to be ordered to fulfill in order to unlock these items and consider that level complete. Now, you can use your customized characters or the costumes you place on the characters in the game and see that actually in the battle. Like, you can control a Deku wearing a mask and a cape and all that stuff, but that's just as far as customization goes. There's really no merit to it. There's no additional stats, all just for aesthetics. And really, that's the only reason why you would consider replaying the story mode of this game. It's in order to get all the items that you could and use those items to customize your characters or the characters in the game, so that it would at least feel like they're your characters. Having said that, playing through the story mode again and again in hopes of getting the objectives can be quite annoying, especially with how the AI of this game acts. Like, there are moments in the game where your enemy will just run around in circles in the arena without them actually fighting you, that it actually ends up being an easy match. Suffice to say, the AI matches in this game aren't that fun. Like, it could use a lot of work to be able to actually call those matches as arena matches, like to be able to live up to the expectations of what we have for the story modes of this game. So the next game mode we have for My Hero One's Justice is the missions mode. Now, in this game mode, you are given a chance to select 3 heroes to go with you on a specified map of varying difficulties, where you would have to defeat an enemy after another, and you only have 1 health bar for the entire duration of that game mode. You could, however, obtain items that you could use to make the matches easier, and also to recover the lost health points that you may have, well, lost during previous matches. Now, completing this mission mode not only gives you additional customization options, but they also give you several titles that you can use for your online profile, as well as unlocking illustrations you can view in the gallery. Now, there are several maps in the mission mode, and you unlock them as you progress through each difficulty, as you complete each mission map. And I think, I'm not really sure because I haven't purchased the DLC for this game, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the additional levels get implemented in mission mode as well. So if you want to play through a semblance of the UA arcs, then the mission mode is the only way to play through that. Unfortunately, again, as I've said, there is no dialogue in these levels. Now, the next 2 game modes we have are the local play and the online play. Now, local play is for playing with your friends locally, like fighting against each other locally without having to use an internet connection or a network connection, while online play is, as the name suggests, obviously uses those connections. And also you need the online subscription in order to play online. Now, like most, if not all, fighting games, there is a rank mode and a ranked online match, and going up ranks not only gives you, again, customization options, they also give you titles to use on your profile for this online matches. And similar to the story mode and the other modes in this game, you can use your customized characters in these games. Now, the only thing that is of note and that people should be warned about is that you do not select which character you use prior to the match. Like, there is no character select screen before the match. You actually have to select what characters you want to use prior to going inside the lobbies themselves, which you could do by selecting the right panel in the online mode's home screen. Now, talking more about the online mode, I've tried it out myself for several days, and the battles can be quite laggy, and which is, I guess, to be expected, considering what kind of connection Bandai Namco uses for their online play. But it's pretty annoying that, you know, we have ranked matches, and again, there's plenty of lag. And I actually had the match. I played the match where I thought I was gonna lose because of the lagging, but then the enemy ended up lagging much more than I did, and I managed to win that. But I didn't feel happy about it because, you know, I want to be able to play against other players fairly without the internet connection or the server connection acting up in a way that it gives another player an edge instead of, you know, being skill based, especially on fighting games such as these. Now, the final game mode we have is the arcade mode. Now, in the arcade mode, similar to, you know, all our arcade modes, you get to choose a character you want, select the sidekicks you want to go along with that character, and then fight 6 stages of battles, one after the other. Now, the only difference between other arcade modes of other games and My Hero 1's Justice arcade mode is that each character has 3 routes that you can play through while on arcade mode. And what route you end up getting is sort of random. You can't decide if you want to take on the villain, the hero, or whatever route you want to call them, each of them, but those are randomized, so you may have to play several times through a character's arcade mode in order to get the route you want to witness or watch. And again, a patch was released for this mode so that the dialogues are a bit more interesting, though personally I couldn't find anything that that patch actually fixed in regards to those dialogues, because they are still as boring as they were when they first arrived, and it's really a waste. But then again, this is just an arcade mode, so one-liners between characters is a thing. Now let's talk about the graphics of this game. Now, this game on handheld mode, it looks pretty, but if you play it on dock mode for the Nintendo Switch, you can see the jagged edges. You can see why the PlayStation 4 version is much more superior in terms of graphics, which is understandable considering the firepower that the PlayStation 4 has. But when it comes to the cutscenes, few as they are within the game, those are beautifully rendered. Like, I wish they could have added more of those in the game, especially with how they told the story of My Hero Academia. But those really are amazing. Now, there are also times in the game where there are graphical glitches. Like, if there are certain items, customization items, that once you put in a character, they don't really render as well. Especially if you're using Bakugo. There are some items that don't go well with his character model, and it looks ugly whenever you use him and you customize him. Now, I can't complain much when it comes to the music and sound effects and voice acting for this game. Now, there's no English voices in this game, and you only get subtitles for you to be able to understand what's happening in the cutscenes. The menus, you have characters speaking while you're in the main menu of the game, but there are no subtitles, so people who do not understand Japanese won't be able to understand what the heck these characters are saying. But essentially, they're just describing what the selections are. But again, they could have added a little ticker tape down the bottom that has the subtitles for that, just in case people actually want to understand word for word what the characters are saying, but there is none of that, at least not in the main menu of the game. Okay, so now that all those are out of the way, let's talk about the game's controls. Now, the controls themselves are pretty simple. Each button has a specific action corresponding to them, and compared to other fighting games, the controls are pretty mindless in a way that you can make decent combo just by pressing or smashing or mashing buttons repeatedly. The thing about this game, however, is that not all combos can follow up on other combos. Like, there are some characters that take a while to master because of the specifics of their attack and how to connect those attacks. At the top of my head, I can name only one character with the easiest combos and controls in the entire lineup, and that is All Might, since you can actually get to more than 100 combo without actually doing much other than mashing the buttons. Sadly, there is also a noticeable delay when it comes to inputs, and sometimes it may take a while, like a half a second more than it should, for those inputs to register in the game, especially when you're trying to defend or even connect an attack, and that doesn't even include the lags that may occur in the game, and not just online but even in local play. Overall, however, I would say that My Hero One's Justice isn't that great of a game. Like, it's not the best game you could have released as a first in the series, but it's passable enough, it's enjoyable enough. It satiates your hunger if you're craving for more My Hero Academia content. But again, it could have been better. And I mentioned this before, I personally would have liked it better if they made an RPG game where we create our own characters with their own quirks and have them interact in the Boku no Hero Academia universe. But for this game being as what it is, I would give it a 6 out of 10 score, overall score. Again, the story mode could have gotten a lot more work. We could have started right at the actual beginning of Midoriya's or Izuku's journey. The graphical aspects of the game, especially customization, they could have been better as well. We could have gotten more out of that. Like, they could have actually implemented a create your own avatar type of game into this and have that character fight similar to what they did with Attack on Titan 2, where you're given a new perspective via the character you created for yourself. Now, for music, it's amazing. It sort of gives you that My Hero Academia anime feel, so there's no complaints about that. The voice actors are cool as they should be, so again, no complaints. The online mode, again, as I always complained about the online when it comes to Bandai Namco, it's bordering on atrocious. Like, there are only certain times when there's no lag, but there's a majority of times there is. So that needs a lot of work as well. But yeah, 6 out of 10 for this game. So there you guys have it, my review for My Hero Academia 1's Justice. So what do you guys think? Have you played the game? Did you buy it while it was on sale during the holidays or these past Thanksgiving, Black Friday, and Cyber Monday sale? The PlayStation Store actually had that game on sale, as well as I think the Bandai Namco store. They had that game on sale. So did you guys buy that during that? Did you pre-order the game as I have? And what were your experiences during that time while we were waiting for the game to unlock? Were you among those people who felt annoyed as I did that we get to play the game much later even though we pre-ordered it first? Share me your thoughts on the comment section below. So once again, thank you all for watching. Thanks to our new subscribers. You guys are awesome. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. If you enjoy this content, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. And if you want to be a part of our notification squad, just click on the bell icon below to get notified whenever new videos come out. And while I have a lot more videos coming out this week, especially with the rumored trailer release for the Avengers game project, and then the Avengers 4 trailer, as well as the trailer for Spider-Man Far From Home. So there's a lot of things going on this week, especially if you're a Marvel fan. It's going to be amazing as that Captain Marvel trailer has been. So again, thank you all for watching. I still got tons to do. Until the next video, dream on, fly on. Make you